26, my sister, 22, Angela became pregnant with my nephew, 3, Lincoln the summer she graduated high school. Lincoln's father is not in the picture. She had 2 possible guys who she believed could be Lincoln's father, but neither of them was. I have nothing against single moms who have kids early, but for Angela getting pregnant right out of high school possibly explains her attitude of how she should party while older people are responsible for Lincoln. Since Lincoln was 6 months old, Angela has never stayed at home with him for more than 3 days a week. Before her go-to was to leave Lincoln with either my mom or aunt. But my mom's health has declined recently and my aunt moved for her husband's work, so now I'm Angela's go-to. At maximum, Angela will give me a half-hour notice that she's dropping off Lincoln at my house. Usually, there is no notice and Angela just knocks on my door with Lincoln. Angela has no consideration for what I want to do. She's fortunate that I work a desk job and have my own cubicle. I'm able to keep Lincoln occupied with a DVD player and my co-workers don't mind as Lincoln is pretty quiet, calm anyway. I have been telling Angela since she started doing this that she needs to step up and be a mom because she can't expect me to always be Lincoln's sitter and parents don't get to party all week long. Angela just will make excuses how moms are entitled to have fun without their kids too and young people don't get that much time to live life before getting old, but she would do it anyway. Angela never followed through and the last straw is when she came to my house and just dumped Lincoln and his stuff off while informing me that she and her friends were going to Myrtle Beach for the next 3 days. I had Lincoln wait in a different room with some earbuds and then blew up on Angela that she should just put Lincoln up for adoption since she gives 0 craps about being a mom. I also told her I would help with Lincoln for 3 more weeks while she worked out some long-term childcare options. Then after that if she tries to dump Lincoln on me again I will call child services on her. I am fully prepared to do it. We argued before she eventually took Lincoln back and left. My friends agree that even though it's a last resort, I should be prepared to do it because I can't spend Lincoln's whole life dropping everything to babysit him and Angela needs to get her crap together. However, my other family members are saying that it is going way too far to even think about calling child services on Angela because she's family and she's a young woman who it's unfair to have her entire life revolve around a child. They and Angela all look down on adoption because you rehome dogs, not babies. And as I mentioned, my mom is in poor health, and since I plan to stay child-free, I would throw away her likely one opportunity to watch a grandchild grow up. Am I the idiot or being prepared to call child services on my sister anyway? Not the idiot. Cool, they can raise the child. Don't have to bother with child services and adoption. But they need to understand that when the child is dropped on you in the future it's a fast countdown to police for child abandonment. Kinda sad because I think chances are higher for adoptive parents being better than them, but much less confidence in foster system. Basing this off USA personal accounts from adopted and fostered, not personal experience. Absolutely not the idiot. Angela chose to have a child right out of high school. She's the one who should take care of him. She's the mother, not you. If it's unfair to have her life revolve around a child, she shouldn't have become a mother then. And it's unfair to you that your life is forced to revolve around a child that is not yours. Don't let them give you that she's family nonsense because, family or not, she is a mother now who is not doing her job. And that bullcrap about adoption, why there are so many suffering kids out there. There are so many people who cannot or should not raise a child and they should absolutely have their children taken away from them. Not the idiot. OP. Tell every one of those family members, well, she should have thought about that before she had a baby. Why is she allowed to have a future without a kid but you're not? I'm actually seething right now. Your sister is incredibly irresponsible and is playing the merry-go-round of free babysitters with all of her family members. It's not your responsibility to constantly watch somebody else's child, especially when she's dropping him off with 0 notice. Guess what? Being a mother is all about your life revolving around your child. It is about making them your first priority, and that comes with sacrifice. She is clearly too young and immature to be a mother, and doesn't seem to have any concern for her child. Put your foot down. You have every right to stand up for yourself and to consider having someone else intervene in this parenting situation. I, 17, have 2 younger siblings, 14, 13. My mother works 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. When she gets off, she goes straight to my grandmother's house or her boyfriend's house and doesn't come home until 10 or 11 p.m. On weekends, she stays out at night. Whenever I ask to go out, which is rare, it's a no. Everyone has to come to my home, but then she complains about me inviting everyone over. I work a part-time summer job. I get paid enough for my needs and to put money aside for my upcoming senior events. When I get paid, I put about 50 to 75% of my money aside and buy whatever I need. I usually have enough to last me till the next time I get paid. My mother and I get paid the same week. She buys food with her first paycheck of the month and I buy food with my second paycheck. My mother buys mostly frozen food, junk food and canned goods. I, on the other hand, buy fruits and vegetables, sometimes snacks. So, about 3 days ago my mother bought the food she usually bought and left. I put away everything and continued my night. The next night, I went downstairs to find 90% of the food my mother bought was gone. I complained to my mother and she did nothing. I started to crave teriyaki and shrimp fried rice, so that's exactly what I bought. About 45 minutes later, it came and my siblings were complaining about how hungry they were. I told them to tell their mother, not me. A few minutes later, my mother came into my room screaming at me for not buying my siblings dinner. I told her they were her children, not mine, and I don't have to buy them anything. She told me to remember that and walked out. I shrugged my shoulders and continued to eat. Yesterday, my mother took my siblings and I to the mall. I went on my own as usual and bought some pink Crocs. My sister found me and told me that my mother said that I have to buy her something. I told her I didn't have to buy her anything because she isn't my child. She left and told my mother. My mom called me and just whispered, yelled at me and hung up. I checked out and went to meet back up with my mom at our usual spot. After about 15 minutes, I called my mom to see where they were. She told me that she left and to find my own way home. I had my best friend take me home. When I got in, no one had said a word to me. Am I the idiot for saying what I said? Not the idiot. Your mother is using you, and parentification of the eldest sibling is a very real thing. You're right to say that she needs to feed her own kids and you shouldn't have to be feeding your siblings or being forced to buy them gifts. Look into moving out of forming if you're going to a 4-year school so you can actually keep the money you earn. Not the idiot. As you continue to stand up to your mother, her behavior might become more extreme. Separate finances as soon as you can if she has access to your bank accounts. Put together a go bag with all your important documents. Stash it somewhere she doesn't know, have access. Delete your browser history if she monitors your devices. If you have a school counselor you can talk to, please reach out to them for help, or another trusted adult or regulatory agency overseeing the safety and well-being of children. This is a classic case of parentification. You shouldn't even have to be buying groceries for the household, let alone strapped at home all of the time to watch 2 teenagers who are old enough to take care of themselves, although they shouldn't have to. Your mom should be there far more often than she is. Your mom is an absentee parent and that is 100% on her. You're being taken advantage of and it's appalling. My dad left my mom when my sister and I, 17, were little kids. I was 4 I think and she was 6. We never saw him again and our mom was left to raise us solo. We found out 2 years after the fact that dad was married again and was raising kids his wife had. When I was 13 my mom and sister died in a car accident. I stayed with some family for several months before dad decided he was going to fight for me. After a legal battle the judge decided I should reconcile with my father and I was sent out of state to live with him and his new family. I'm 17 now and I am counting down the days for freedom from this place and these people. My dad has tried harder than ever before since I have lived with him, but it was too little too late. My step-siblings are the most annoying people on the planet. They jump to defend my dad. They always tell me to give him a chance, that he's a great dad and I don't know him like they do. They also claim my sister as their sister and have mentioned how they wish I would share some photos of her with them because she is our sister. I told them how my sister would not have liked them calling her that. I would be told I couldn't know that, blah blah blah. Over the years it's been a lot of therapy, a lot of my dad and his wife trying to convince me I should be part of their family, and a lot of my wants being ignored. The biggest one is to go home to my actual family. My step-siblings keep bringing up how hard I am on dad, and how great he is and saying they don't understand my rejecting him. A few days ago dad wanted me to go on a father-son fishing trip with him and I turned him down. They barged into my room and started telling me how wrong I was. His stepkids are 16, 14 and 12 by the way. They said I need to give him a chance and how I'm a bigger idiot than he ever was. They said I could not appreciate that he was a good dad to them and was there for them even if he couldn't be there for me. I lost it. Told them to shut the hell up and they can't seriously expect me to be grateful for that. I could see they were upset and I told them I had no desire to care about them, or him, or their mom, and that I wanted them to act like I wasn't there because I will be gone soon enough. My dad and his wife were furious, and honestly, the stepkids were too. They all said I was out of line and was taking my anger at my dad out on them. I told them they were harassing me and were selfish to think I would be glad the deadbeat who abandoned me and my sister was there for 3 random kids. I said if anything I would love to see if they'd say the same thing when he one day walks out on them too. Let's just say things are tense now. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. His stepkids were completely out of line, and it seems like instead of empathizing and understanding his son and his pain and visiting, he wants to resolve his guilt in a way that seems like he is doing a favor to you even though he is the one who left. Leave when you can. Don't let them try to make you feel bad for their selfishness and screw-ups. Wish you the best. And how often are you home with them? Do you have a hobby or getaway area? Not the idiot. But man, your dad is so selfish. He was selfish then when he walked out on you and abandoned you and your sister. It was selfish of him to rip you away from your remaining family while you're still grieving your mom and sister. Selfish of him to push his desire on you to have a relationship with you when you clearly don't want to. Deadbeat to his own bio kids while being a good father to his stepchildren. Sad. You have been through some traumatic events in your short life. More than some people will go through in their lifetime. You, dad, and his family have to accept he never acted as a father to you for the majority of your life. They are essentially strangers to you. I hope you continue to go to therapy for your sake, and it's just private sessions. I also hope you don't have much time left until you're 18 and can move back to the family you know. I'm sorry you're going through this, OP, but your dad has to realize there are consequences to his actions, and you not wanting a relationship after he abandoned you for a decade is one of them. This spring, a young woman, let's call her Kristen, moved into the house next door to me. She owns some sort of catering business for weddings and runs an Instagram account about food. We live in a semi-remote area about 15 minutes outside of a small town. During pandemic I got very into gardening, and love my thriving vegetable and herb garden. I tend to it very carefully, and I love that I can feed my husband and kids with food I have grown. This summer, produce has begun disappearing. Some of my tomatoes, squash, eggplants and herbs will disappear overnight. I see no signs of animals chewing them. No vegetables disappeared from my garden last summer. Obviously someone is taking them. Kristen is the nearest house to mine, the other nearest are a bit of a walk down the road, and she is right next door, and I find it very suspicious that they began disappearing right after she moved in. I even checked her Instagram and saw her posting photos of food this very week featuring the exact produce that's gone missing from my garden: tomatoes, zucchini, eggplant, herbs. I confronted her about this yesterday evening and she became very defensive. She said I was crazy and that she had no reason to steal from me as there is a farmer's market right down the road and she grows her own windowsill herbs and has a supplier for her business. She even had the audacity to brag about how much money she makes, saying that her business brings in good money and that she would have no need to steal. From her defensiveness and this level of bragging, it seems obvious to me that she is lying. Things got ugly and she slammed her door in my face, which to me seems like further proof of guilt. Am I the idiot? Should I have gone about this differently? She is clearly stealing from me and clearly lying about it. You are the idiot. That's a pretty strong, relationship-destroying accusation without proof. And depending on where you live, that combo of veggies is currently in season and available in great abundance. You don't know what she's growing at the moment. You should put up a camera, don't tell her, and apologize. Then let the camera do its work. Go back and tell her this. Say, I understand you say it is not you. And you shouldn't have accused her without proof and you are sorry for that. But someone is obviously trespassing onto property and stealing. And that you set up a camera to catch them. Then set up the camera. Either she will stop or you will catch who it is. However, I don't always agree with defensive equal guilt. Because on the flip side people say, oh, they didn't have anything to say, couldn't defend themselves. So they must be guilty. So you can't always win with that one even if the person is innocent. You are the idiot for now, because you are accusing her without proof. Before accusing someone of something, you should have actual proof. The fact that she had recipes made from vegetables that you actually had in your garden means absolutely nothing. They're in-season vegetables, which means the farmer's market will have them in abundance too, and probably for a really good price. So the fact that she had zucchini and tomatoes at a time of year when zucchini and tomatoes are ripening isn't all that remarkable. Help me settle this. I'm Dutch, 28, and my girlfriend is Italian, 25. We live in the Netherlands in a city where you can get by even if you speak only English. She is living here for 5 years, and we are dating for almost 2 years. She speaks no Dutch and makes no effort to learn. Even simple phrases and greetings, she won't bother with them. I didn't really care in the beginning, but as time goes by, I find it strange that someone can live in a place for years and refuse to learn the native language. She says Dutch is difficult, sounds ugly, and she doesn't need it for her work or social life. So what's the point? That's all true, but for some reason it bothers me. This morning we were talking about where to travel on a holiday, and the topic of language came up. When I suggested showing her a part of the Netherlands that she hasn't seen, it pissed me off when she joked that she wants to go on holiday somewhere she doesn't have to hear Dutch. It left a bad taste, so I said let's talk about this later and tried to end the conversation. That didn't go as planned. She followed me asking why am I acting like this over a joke, and eventually it turned into a big argument. She asked me why does it matter when pretty much any Dutch person speaks English anyways, why do I even care? I said how would she like it if I moved to her country and refused to learn her language? She said, if Italian sounded ugly like Dutch, then I would get it. In the heat of the moment I said, if that's what you think, then maybe you should move back there. I don't really feel that way, I was just angry. But she said this crossed a line and doesn't speak to me now. Am I the idiot for what I said, and also for being pissed that she won't learn my language? Not the idiot. She's telling a Dutch person that their language sounds ugly, which is bigoted by the way, and she doesn't need it for her social life, which includes her partner, right? Most people realize that when you're in another country than your own it's polite to at least be able to say courtesies and basic phrases in that country's language. Her attitude would be a deal breaker for me. I hope you find someone more compatible with a better worldview, because if that's her attitude toward her host country I imagine she's rather high maintenance in other ways also. Not the idiot. So what would happen if she got stuck somewhere in your country that doesn't speak as much English? She'd be stranded and rude to people I bet. I do find it very rude to move to another country and refuse to learn even the basics of the language. You might have been joking, but do you really want to spend your life with someone who is so hostile against your homeland? Not the idiot. I am from the US but live in Portugal now. That is a difficult language to me. I learned all the usual phrases before I came and am picking up new words every day. Actually, with my southern accent it seems like I am making an entirely new language. But it seems to mean a lot to people that I am trying. I don't understand how someone can live in a country for 5 years and not speak the language at all. It's not respectful.